Would you like to know more about how and when to set your rates as a private investigator? If you said yes, then this video is for you. Welcome to the PI Guy, tips, tricks, and advice for professional private investigators just like you. My name is John Morris. I'm a licensed professional private investigator in Colorado. Now, Taryn B94, a great viewer of the PI Guy channel, asked me, once you get your foot in the PI business, do you set your own prices for your services for customers, or does the company you're working for set the price for you, or does it only apply if you are independent? These are some great questions, Taryn. Thank you so much for asking them. Setting your private investigator rates can be quite the ordeal for any new private investigator out there, and knowing when to set them and who sets them can be just as complicated at times. Now, I am not going to go into details in this video on how to calculate and set your rates for every type of investigation you do, but wait, fear not. I made a video not too long ago on how to use a profitability equation to set your fees, and I'm going to leave a link down below for that video. But wait, don't run off to that video yet, folks. Right now, let's discuss some of the types of rates and who sets what rates for you in your PI business. There should be a difference between your regular rates for your regular clients, the ones who call you up and need you to conduct an investigation, and your subcontract rate, which is the rate that you charge when working for another investigator, and your corporate client rate for larger clients such as insurance companies, law firms that are giving you bulk work and keeping you busy over time. Let's first look at your regular rates. This is the hourly rate you charge when someone calls you up and needs to hire you for an investigation. You may even have differing rates that you charge for different types of investigations too. Many private investigators who do different types of investigations have different rates. For instance, you might have an hourly fee for surveillance investigations and a different one for, let's say, criminal defense investigations. Then within those, you may have different fees too. For instance, you might consider charging a lower hourly fee for longer surveillance investigations and a higher hourly fee for shorter surveillance investigations. Now, you need to remember, in sales for PI services, you should be selling retainer, not hourly fees. And if you want more info on that, I have another video on setting your retainer fees that you should check out. Selling by the hour is difficult at best because PI customers shop the hourly rate. This leads to you having to be the cheapest guy in town to get the job, or be a better salesperson and learn to close and sell by selling by the job or the retainer. I have a lot of videos on running your PI business and marketing your PI business, and I will leave links down below for those for you too. But wait, let's take a close look at those hourly rates. Even though you shouldn't be selling by the hour, you need to have an hourly fee to set a retainer fee, right? So back to the surveillance hourly rates. My company has regular surveillance fees we use for regular surveillance jobs. A regular surveillance job is going to usually be 2, 3, maybe 4 days long. Now, many clients have limited budgets or only want a shorter investigation done. For instance, many times a client only wants us to go out and do 4 hours, like from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night. Well, we are happy to take those, but charging our regular hourly rate really cuts into the profits. After all, we all want a full day of work, and working a 4-hour day means we don't get that 8-hour day in. Now, I know they can't all be 8-hour days, but we can make some adjustments to our rates to help the bottom line out. Now, for easy math, I am going to assume the regular hourly rate for a surveillance case is $100 an hour for 8 hours plus travel time and mileage. So a regular case might have fees set at, let's say, $1,000 a day, which will include some travel time and some mileage. So a 3-day surveillance will require a $3,000 retainer. But if a client only wants 4 hours, I don't do $400 plus travel time and mileage. We would adjust up a little to say, let's say $125 an hour, so it may be $750 for a single 4-hour assignment, including travel time and mileage. If you start out with that higher retainer, Mr. Customer, we can do 3 days of surveillance for $3,000, and it is too much, then you find out the client only wants 4 hours, the $750 is much more appealing. You might also consider a higher fee for nighttime surveillance, higher profile individuals as well, and other special circumstances that may arise. I also never, ever lower my regular rate. So if I start with a quote for 3 days of surveillance and the client says, great, I want 10 days, how much is that? Well, that is $10,000. Don't get in the habit of bulk discounting for a single job just because it offers more hours. You might want to discount for clients who offer bulk work over time, and we will discuss that in just a moment. Now, depending on how many services you provide and your competition level out there in the open market where you work, you may also consider having different fees for different types of work. I mean, charging $95 an hour for surveillance, but $150 an hour for criminal defense cases. Why the huge difference, you ask? Great question. Well, to put it simply, folks, the expertise for a competent criminal defense case is higher than for surveillance. I know it takes a great deal of skill to be a competent surveillance investigator, but the bar is raised for criminal defense cases. You might also consider this for other more complicated investigations, such as accident investigations, fraud investigations, and other ones that take higher levels of skill and equipment. Now, when it comes to subcontract work, this is where you are working for another private investigator or PI firm. You should expect less than normal fees. Often, this is usually anywhere from 40% to 60% of your regular fees. As a general rule, what I have seen, and I think you could expect to get, is around $40 to $50 an hour as a subcontractor. I also always suggest for PIs to have a set subcontract rate. So when you discuss a subcontract job with someone, you can let them know what it is. If you just let them throw out a number, it is usually going to be on the lower side of things. And if your number is too high, they will usually, if they wish to hire you, they will say something like, well, that is fair, but it's a bit out of our range. We usually do X dollars. Can you work with that? And that X dollars is not the bottom of the barrel pricing. I have seen many PIs and PI firms who are looking for a subcontractor start way down at $20 to $25 an hour. Starting that low makes it hard for you to then get anywhere close to something that's acceptable. Now let's discuss the big white elephant in the room. Let's talk about corporate accounts like large insurance firms and law firms. These types of clients are a class of their own. From my experience, you will rarely get to set the hourly rate unless this one thing happens. That one thing is if they ask you what your hourly rates are and the hourly rate is below their normal rates. So if they ask you what your hourly rate is and you tell them $75 an hour and they normally pay $85 an hour, you can rest assured you may get that job. Getting the contract with them is great, but you can also rest assured they will seldom give raises. So whatever prices you start with, you may very well be at in 5 years from now. So you want to make sure it is the highest you can get and something that you can live with. How do you make sure it is the highest hourly rate and something you can live with? Great question again. You simply ask them what their normal hourly rate is that they pay their vendors. It is simply that easy. Most of them do not get into the bargaining game. They are going to have a contract that you must sign, and they will stick to that contract for the life of the relationship. The biggest secret with these accounts, folks, is you need to make sure you know what their standard procedure is for paying travel time and mileage. Many times they're looking for flat rate vendor rates, especially when it comes to surveillance work. So saying you charge $100 an hour, they may equate that to $800 a day and $400 for half days and be fine with it. No mileage, no travel time. So that really comes out to roughly $75 an hour. And that would be pretty good pay for a client that can give you 16, 24, 32 or more hours of work a week. Hey, here are 2 more videos that I made just for you. Remember, folks, stay safe out there.